Donna, we are fortunate enough to have a special guest with us. You know her very well as I do. And we're going to bring her here forward just in a few moments, but we want to make sure everybody remembers why we're doing this. This is solely based on our wellness, our well-being, our spiritual journey, and how we have transpired or transformed over our time on our journey. So, Donna, how long ago would you say your journey began? Your spiritual wellness, well-being journey?
Recognizably, the past 3 years. I mean, the journey has been.
Yeah.
I just didn't recognize it.
I would have to agree. Mine was I keep telling everybody I'm 3 years old. Like I started 3 years ago. It's like, how old are you? I'm like, I'm three. I'm three.
Right.
But yeah. But let's bring forward our special guest. Miss Moriah, please feel free to join us.
Hello.
Oh, hello.
My name is Moriah, and I've been a part of the Live Life community for a little over a year. So happy to be here today. It's great.
We're glad to have you. We're glad to have you. We know that you have a journey that you've gone through and you're still going, as we are. As I just said, we're three. Donna said she recognized it 3 years ago as well. So being on a journey it's quite a bit sometimes. It can be. It could be loving, it could be great, but sometimes it could be a lot.
Yeah.
So please feel free to share us, like, what was the spark? What led you down your journey, your spiritual, your wellness journey?
So it started in, I would say, fall 2021. I was in a relationship. What really sparked me questioning myself was an incident that I had with my partner at that time, who wanted to be intimate and I did not. And I was given the silent treatment due to me not wanting to be intimate. And I was on the couch crying. And I was like, I should not be feeling like this. Why am I feeling like this? And I started to Google a few things and asking the group that I was a part of at that time, what's going on with me and these feelings that I'm having. I can't really identify them. And it was a support group of women who who were overcoming codependency. And one lady in the group, she mentioned that she was in what was it? Not CPS, something else, social working. And she mentioned that when that happens at times, that's like a form of sexual coercion. And alongside that, my therapist at the time mentioned that as well, alongside my low self-esteem. And that's what really got me going. I was like, I have a low self-esteem. Like, what does it mean to have a low self-esteem? Like, what does it mean that, to stay in something that makes you feel the way that I was feeling, like so bad, to the point where even with therapy, like I was considering suicide. And I had called the hotline and I was like, this can't be, like, this can't be life. I'm like, this is not how it's supposed to feel. So that's what really sparked me, was a lot of pain.
Mm-hmm.
That also sparked my journey, was like massive suffering.
Yeah. So when you said something a while ago, like not realizing there was low self-esteem, like what was that feeling like when it kind of clicked to you? It's like, wait, there's low self-esteem going on here? What was that feeling like?
Confusing, because I didn't even know what that looked like. Like, what does self-esteem even mean? And what does it mean when it's low? Like, I hear people like talk about, they say like, oh, someone's self-esteem is high or low. But to me at that time, I thought that I didn't have low self-esteem. Like, I was pretty devastated when I was told that I do. And what did she say? She said, basically, it's how you love yourself. I was like, what do you mean? I love myself. Like, I take baths and I have crystals. I journal and such. I love myself, right? And and just like the self-confidence overall. And yeah, it was just really confusing times. I just didn't know what that meant as far as like how it felt, what that embodiment even looked like.
Yeah.
So I see people around me being confident, and I thought that I was also being confident, but it turns out that that's something that I really struggled with that I didn't even know about. So
Well, I'm not sure. Mine was a space to where I had to go to a very low point for me to come out of it, for me to realize it. So I'm glad you're able to share that with us, because some people do have to go through a dark space to come out on the other side. Donna, was yours a dark space for to come out from the other side, or how was yours?
Yeah, I mean, not like that, but I mean, yes, I had dark and up and down and in and out and all that craziness. But you know what, Moriah, I just want to point out the fact that you, in your confusion, you still had the wherewithal to look things up, to question yourself, and what is this, and how come, and why am I here crying? So that right there had to be an indication to you that there was something greater for you, because a lot of people cave to that low self-esteem. It's me, I'm worthless, I'm nothing, and I'm nothing without this person. So I commend you for at least recognizing what you recognized at that time of your confusion.
I appreciate it. That was I think the journey is, well, my journey at least, is just full of hard truths, and that was one of them at the
Yeah.
time, was that um one, low self-esteem, and two, codependency. That's like it was a huge slap in the face for me, because I had no idea. I had no idea those were something that I guess hindered me in the way that it did, so blindly. So, but yeah, I appreciate that compliment.
It's true. I mean, there's so many people that cave to it. I'm not codependent, and I don't have low self-esteem, and they will fight emphatically against that. Whereas you were more curious about it, and okay, I didn't realize, let me learn more and let me get out of this.
Yeah.
Here you are.
Uh, so you're willing to actually be curious, like you said, and not be in denial about it, because a lot of people
Yeah.
be ego and be like, oh, like Donna said, I'm not codependent, and realistically, like, are you though? So, so good. So question, where did that lead you to next? Like, let's say for instance, you were in a relationship, you say you shouldn't be the one that was crying on the couch. Where did that lead you to after that after all this devastation came upon you?
So I was actually of course I was talking to my best friend about it, and you know, as best friends do, she's like, break up with him. And I was like, I don't know. So I've never broken up with anybody in my life. Like, people have always, I've been broken up with, but I've never did the breaking up
Yeah.
part. So that was my first time breaking up with somebody. And that is what I did. So I left the relationship. There was another altercation where I had gotten kicked out, and that's fine. I definitely had people who were supportive of me at that time. But my decision to leave ultimately like led me to move to Texas. And I did that because my aunt lives there, and she had a position open for me in her company. So I decided that I didn't want to jump into another relationship until I figured out this codependency, low self-esteem situation, because it definitely plays in all areas of life, like not just relationship. So it affects all areas. And I wanted to have that opportunity to work on myself in that way before jumping into another relationship and it being a hot mess, like all of them have been. So basically, I took last year, that time to myself. And that was the first time that I had been single since my teenage years, because I had been in back-to-back relationships, aka codependency. So that was definitely new to me. I had my own apartment for my first time, well, second time, but for the first time I had my own space. Job, car, a little dog Gracie, and we were living in Texas, and I was doing the course that I talk about sometimes, is Loving Me After We, was on codependency and inner child healing. I was really deep into that because I felt it, like withdrawals basically, and the fear of being alone and abandoned. So I think that me learning is also a coping mechanism, because the more I understand it, the better I'm able to cope and understand what's going on in my body. Because when I don't know what's going on in my body, I feel like lost and confused, and I just don't like to do. I don't like feeling like that. So there was a lot of, anxiety attacks. There's a lot of moments of like crying and throwing a fit and, withdrawal basically. So I was fortunate though to have my aunt as support. So that meant a lot to me. But yeah, that was that period of my life where I was like really serious about getting better, about like healing.
Yeah.
And really taking that time to focus on myself, because I do want a relationship, but healthy. That's the key word. So that part was me stepping out on my own and into a part of the unknown, because I didn't know what was going to happen. And as I started to like come back from the withdrawal part and start living my life for me, I started going out more. And sometimes it looked like the bars, which was not it. That wasn't it. So I stopped going to the bars. I started taking myself to the movies, taking myself out, taking my nails done, going on walks with Gracie, rollerblading. And my aunt had been doing somewhat of the same thing, and she mentioned yoga in the park. And I was like, okay, I'm coming with. Like, I just invited myself. I didn't even care. I was like, all right, I'm coming with you, because it's a Saturday, self-care Saturday. And long story short, she ended up not being able to make it, but I still went. And I was honestly about to leave. I couldn't find the event. But then I approached two people under the tree, and it was Simeon and another person from Live Life Community. So that's how I started I would say my more spiritual side of the journey, but also I think it definitely has a lot to do with healing as well.
Yeah. So I have a question. So that entire time you say going through withdrawals and finding your space or doing their own thing, a lot of people have a hard time choosing that. So was it easy?
No. No, it's not easy.
Was it worth it?
Yes, absolutely. Sometimes I look back and I'm like, I don't know how I was doing it. How was I doing it? I have no idea.
Well,
that's the case. That's usually the case. You never know how you do it. You just look back like, wow, I went through a mess back there.
Yeah.
Yes.
And a good thing is you could say, I'm gonna leave it back there. I'm gonna leave it over there. Cause because when you said the withdrawals from it, when you said that the moving, the position, and at first you said like at first it seemed like the bars, like that wasn't it. No, that wasn't it. So you had to you took time to figure out what was for you, like is it getting your nails done, going rollerblading, going out with Gracie, taking yourself to the movies. And I believe there's somebody within that we both know was like, I want to do like what Moriah does, like going to the movies by yourself, taking yourself out on dates. So a lot of people don't realize it's during the relationship, from one relationship to the next, you get to date yourself. Because if you don't like you, the next person you with probably not gonna like you either.
And dating yourself is where it's at.
What was that?
People don't do that. They jump from, as you all know, they jump from one relationship to the next, and they don't do that. They don't give themselves that grace period, that little relaxation time to get to know yourself. And again, I guess I'm on the Moriah compliment boat today, but the intuitiveness that you had, the strength that you had and most friends, when they listen to their best friend, if their best friend doesn't totally align with what they really want to do, like if you want to stay in that relationship because you don't want to go through that, like the withdrawal, most people would just continue asking friends until somebody said, yeah, just give them another chance. But you didn't. You listened, and you went with it. I mean, it's like, and you moved. all the strength and all the smart things, you used your head instead of your heart. A lot of times you got to go somewhere in between. But yeah, I'm like Team Moriah today.
Yes, I appreciate it. Yes, that was probably one of the best worst things that happened, is just to like break off from that relationship.
Well, Don's gonna pop back in here, but I'll say this: I will commend you as well from taking that break, because, like I told you, I was also a serial dater. It's like one relationship to the next, one relationship to the next, and now when you said it like this, it's like, is Simeon have a devastation moment? Say, was I stuck in codependency as well? It's like literally from one relationship, it's like, oh, we don't like each other anymore. Oh, someone's new coming in here. Here's a little bit of attention here. So it's like also now I have somebody else that wants to join and take over and be this new person in my life. Donna, it's absolutely fine. We were talking about, I just jumped in and said, you know what? I was also part of that serial dating. So I was like, oh, did it just register now? Like, was I stuck in codependency too? It's like, wait, what? So it's like, wait, well, I'm glad I'm not in that space anymore. Now that I can look back and say, yeah, you were. So I commend you for taking the time in between, because it's not easy, especially if you've been used to having that attention from someone, the next person, and for you to just completely say, forget you all. I'm going home.
Yes. Well, also like it is hard because you're used to having someone validate you, and then you don't have anyone all of a sudden. I will say there's a few times I downloaded the dating apps. Don't recommend. And I did meet some great people on there. Honestly, there's two friends of mine I'm still friends with today. I did also meet some not so great people on there, but you know, go either way. But it's kind of like it's okay to make mistakes along the way. So that's like something I want to point out too, is that sometimes we have those moments. It's like, well, maybe I could just, you know, X, Y, and Z, and then to catch yourself and be like, well, that's not really focusing on yourself, and you're still seeking external validation, and you're like, oh, yeah, all right. And the thing is, I kind of thought about this the other day when I was reflecting back. It's like you don't know something's a crutch until it's kicked out from under you.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, oh shoot, I was leaning on that and I didn't even know. So that's kind of what it felt like, honestly, is I realized how much I was leaning on other people for like my self-worth, my self-love, my validation, my own self-esteem, how I value myself. Like I didn't realize how much I depended on other people to tell me that. So that's also the devastation.
Can I ask a question, which I hope I don't step on your question, Simeon, but dun, dun, dun. My question to you is now, how did you get to the path of now you don't lean on somebody else? How did you find that within yourself? What did you do?
It's like a moment by moment based, like step by step, because there's still times where I catch myself like, are you seeking external validation? And I'm like, oh, back it up. Just rewind. I think that the work I had done with Simeon had a lot to do with that. A lot to do with like showing up for myself. That was like 90% of me is like validating myself and loving myself. So a lot of credit to the Live Life program for that one, because yeah, I'll let Simeon talk more about that if he wants to, but it was definitely the work I had done with Simeon and me being independent for once. That is just like learning. Yeah. There was this quote that I found the other day that's like, stop learning by learning and start learning by doing. And it's like, I was in it, the mix. Yes. So if I messed up on something, it's like, oh well, that kind of sucks, but it's definitely like a case by case, because sometimes we want to, well, I wanted to kind of like throw in the towel and just be like, well, it'll just be much easier if I just did this. And it's like, well, we didn't agree to take the easy route. Here we are, all this work. So, but yeah, it's showing up. It's the showing up for myself, for me.
Yeah, and that was my next question. People are probably listening saying, well, how long does that take to do? Until, right?
It's like
Well, since
dot.
may continue. I feel like it's never done. Like even now when I am happy with myself and in my own company, like there's still work, you know, and that's like not to discourage, but not but even and not to discourage, and it's it's fun. At some point you realize like actually this is great. This is I'll sit on the back porch, minding my business, typing on my laptop, sun shining, bare feet. I'm like, there's not a soul on this property. Like I'm just enjoying my own time. And I feel like I was looking back at, you know, previous me who would just be like, oh no, what do I do? Like I don't know what to do without somebody. But now I'm like, I know exactly what to do without somebody. Because
Yeah.
I've been doing it. So there was this podcast that I was listening to throughout this whole process, and she said, how do you expect someone to take you out to eat and you don't even know where you like to eat at? And I'm like, oh, okay. And that can be like obviously applied to other areas of life, not just restaurants and such, but like, you know, to get to know myself was at first unfamiliar, but now is like so much fun. I really enjoy that self-discovery aspect of it all.
Yeah. So one thing a while ago, you attempted to give me credit for the Live Life community program. It's there, but I give you all the credit because you're a person that was willing to pick it up and do it. Because a lot of people, the program is always going to be there. Well, I don't want to say always going to be there. As of right now, while I am here in my present state, the program is going to be there. Same thing with Donna. Her program is going to be there. But the people such as yourself who's willing to have the courage, because I always remember I always said this, it takes courage to take this journey. So for you to have the courage to do the work, because as you would say, the work works. Who would have thunk? So I commend you for having the courage to doing the work. It's the program's there, but if you don't do the work, the program means nothing. That's just what it is. So I'll say that. So you said a while ago, I want to know, would that be a suggestion to use? Like after you get out of, let's say, for someone's going through codependency, they were dealing with serial dating. Would you recommend like going out, taking yourself out on a date like once a week, once every other week? What would your recommendation be?
Yeah, everyone has their own budget. So, but it's like what I had done as a singular woman on her own, paying rent and such. Sometimes my dates were sushi and spicy garlic edamame and Netflix. And that was like $15. That was a $15 date for me. So I would do that maybe like once a week or every other week. And the movies are a little more expensive. Depends on your budget. It could be even more depending on what you buy there. But and that would be like case by case, depends on what movie's out. But I would do like at least once a month.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, I had my like process of what I would do when I go and all that too, where I like really was treating myself, and I would, you know, sometimes I'd get dinner there because it was one of those luxury theaters or whatever.
Yeah.
And nails as needed, I guess, and as I want them or not. But also there was like the meetup events. There were some meetup events here and there. But mostly like I'm very introverted. So those were like more so my type of things. But there are times where I take myself out to like a restaurant. Like I eat sushi at the sushi place or tacos at a taco place and you know all that stuff. So and sometimes it looked like taking a book to the park or going downtown to self-care Saturday. Like that'd also be for me a date for me, even if it's with other people. I mean, the journey doesn't have to be lonely. You can still meet up with, make friends. You don't have to like hide away in your hobbit hole and work yourself to death on reading all the things, listen to all the podcasts and all that, you know. That's what I thought it was supposed to be at first, but then I'm like, oh yeah, I can live my life and heal. You know, I can make friends and heal, and I can have a good time and heal. So
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to talk about that because although I named it Live Life Community, I did get stuck into that point of like not living life because like let me make sure and take care of the business. Let me make sure and build the creations. Let me make sure and do this and do that. And then I think just today, Donna told me she was proud of me for taking the day off and not feeling guilty for it. Just today. So it is
Well,
easy.
far and few in between, Simeon. Far and few in between that you take a day off.
I'll do another 9 days at some point, but right now, yeah. But at some point, we don't know when, but it's gonna happen. But when you say that, it's easy to get stuck into that everything needs to be perfect. I can't do this, I can't do that. I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna do that, and it's easy for you to fall back to that space of saying everything's here. But we realize if you came from codependency, you came from addictions, you came from whatever BS you came from, and you completely turn away from it, you turn to something else, that new thing could become your new addiction, and you don't realize it until it's too late, or you're in it and you're like, wait, what's happening? I
another
just
crutch.
replaced one. Yeah, another crutch, right? You took this one and said, all right, let me lean on this one real quick, let that one go, and let me hold on to this one. So I'm glad you said that. Donna, you have something very
Yeah, I do want to add something because, Moriah, in your dating and the things that you did within your budget, you also, I feel, and you can tell me if you guys agree, but I feel like there's a happy medium because not only in the growth process do you need to date yourself and go out and do things like you did, but to sit quietly in your home with no TV on, no music, nothing but the thoughts in your head. And if you need a piece of paper, not even a journal, if you can't afford a journal, a piece of paper and a pen and write it down, or just sit there quietly. If you can sit there quietly with yourself and enjoy that evening, that is growth in my world.
that is stupendous growth. You know how many people cannot sit with themselves in silence?
Right.
I was one of them. My mind was always going, and finally now I'm like, bring on the silence, please. So Moriah,
Please.
yeah, please. Moriah, have you had trouble sitting in silence with yourself, or has it been something easier over time, or were you just always able to doing that?
I think it's something that got easier over time. I listened to a podcast, I think last summer. So I was still living in my apartment at the time.
Yeah.
And it said something similar. It's like, we always are listening to something while we're doing something else. And it's like we never have that time where we can hear our own thoughts and such. So I was like, oh, he's like, you're probably listening to this podcast doing something right now. And I'm like, you're right, I am. And so then that's what I was like, oh, I should take more time in silence. So there was times like I would just cook dinner in silence, or I would just sit in silence and I would silence is, it can be, it's as silent as it can get around the suburbs basically. But I had the window open and just sitting and nothing on, but I can hear people outside having fun at the pool or whatever. But nothing more. So it got easier as I was doing it intentionally.
Yeah.
Right.
So not like just during meditation, but also like my waking stages. And now even lately I've been doing silent walks. So right after work, I get off at noon. I immediately go outside and go for a walk. No phone, no earbuds, or no people, nothing. So that's definitely a good idea, Donna. It's like you take time for yourself and you can sit and be with yourself.
Yes, because a lot of people do think that, I'm doing for myself. I'm here, there, and everywhere, and you're going places and you're staying busy, but they can't sit alone. They're running away from themselves as well. And you can't run away from yourself because wherever you go, there you are. So eventually you need to sit there and sort it out. And there's so much that comes in silence. And even if it's tears, it needs to come up and it needs to come out. I've gone for runs in silence and started out with tears streaming down my face and came home just sweaty and saying, well, I feel much better now.
The fact that you say that is like wherever you go, there you are. So a lot of times people don't sit in the silence and they find distractions to go outside. So realistically, you're attempting, which you can't do. You're attempting to escape yourself.
Right.
Instead of sitting with self. That is the most challenging thing. You're literally running away from yourself while attempting to find yourself. It's not a good thing. It's
No.
just not. Okay. So a question I have for you now is, were you focused on anything of your purpose before you went through, let's say, your journey? Was anything like, oh, this is what my purpose is, this is what I'm going to do, this is where I'm direction I have? Did you have the direction of what you currently have now?
Not to the degree which I haven't. I think more so before. I would go live a lot to talk about mental health awareness, suicide prevention, which is a part of it all, of course. And I think I was selling candles back then as well, which was a little part of it as well. But I more so stepped into that. Oh yeah, there it is. So I have it. I was like, yeah, last year.
One of my anchors.
Perfect. On hand.
Oh, good. I burned mine to the bottom completely.
Always burning them. What's it called? Use it at my own supply. Burning my own candle. But yeah, I think more recently I've stepped into what my actual purpose is. And even now I'm still stepping, you know.
Yeah.
You build up to it, I guess.
Yeah. I think more so after like when you're in a journey, you could see it a little bit more clearly. It doesn't mean you have all the answers, because we're still the most scariest thing that we have within this world is stepping into the unknown, because we want to be in control. And it's like, it's easier when you just let go. It's like, just let go, be present, do your stuff. So now, would you say that you have more of you could see it more clearly than you could before? And doesn't mean that you just know how it's going to turn out, because the how's not up to us, but can you see it a little bit more clear now than whenever it was before? Because the reason I asked is because I know that you have a special thing you just completed that you're going to be sharing with us in a few.
Yeah, it's definitely more clear now. A lot of the work that we did helped me to realize more of what that was, which was pretty cool to realize. So I appreciate that. But yeah, I think I have like a better direction and more clarity around what I came here to do.
Good. I love it. I love it. Okay, so would you mind sharing, you've created something that would help plenty of people with one of their well-being processes in this. Can you share that with us and tell us what it's about, what made you create it, why you created it, and who you think it'll help?
Yeah, so it's a meditation journal. I have it here, but it's the proof copy. It's not as pretty as the regular copy would be, because it has proof written or not for sale or something written across. But it's a meditation journal, and it's formatted in a way that is structured. And I created that initially for myself, because it was important to me to get better at or improve my meditation practice.
Yeah.
I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. And I felt it was very surface level, if that makes sense. And a lot of times I would just sit there with my eyes closed, which is fine. Nothing wrong with that, but I did want to deepen my practice. So I created a meditation journal, and that could be used for anybody of all levels of practice. And I'm one of those people. I can't speak for everybody, but I get out of meditation, I can't remember anything that happened, anything that I thought. And so that's the main reason why I created it, because there'd be like little nuggets in my meditations that like lead up to this bigger thing that I would just keep forgetting until I remember again. So I'm able to, on a daily basis, track anything that comes up in meditation, and then at the end of the week reflect on that and notice any patterns or any like synchronicities or what have you. So but yeah, it's for everybody.
Good.
Everybody who practices.
And one thing I'll say with meditation has helped, just like you said, it brings in the clarity of like those nuggets that are being downloaded. And when we meditate, it helps us to literally align with our vision of what we're moving into. So I'm thankful to hear that you created a meditation journal, because that'll be helpful for a lot of people who want to find more clarity in life and kind of silence those voices, because we have 50 to 70,000 thoughts in one day. Whew, that's a lot. That's a lot of talking to itself. And I think Donna says it best is, Donna, what's your saying about talking to yourself like you talk to a friend?
Oh, if you talk to yourself well, if you talk to your friends the way you talk to yourself, you wouldn't have any friends.
Yeah, yeah, because a lot of us have a lot of doubts, negative self-talk and everything.
Self-talk.
Meditation will help silence that, but then also actually pull out the clear bits that we actually want to hold on to. So, okay, so Mariah, what we would like to do is we like to end our talks with something that has helped you excel, progress, or whatever. It could be a book, it could be a podcast, it could be whatever that helped you excel within your journey. So if you have anything, anyone, even if it's a place, it's a cafe you went to, you're like, oh my gosh, butterflies. I don't care what it is. What is something that you appreciate has helped you along your journey?
Oh shoot, I wish I had known this before. So I came with a list. um, I would say start from the beginning. If I knew what I knew now, um, this heating pad, because some anxious attachment theory, if you're into that, um, heat helps with the self-soothing.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not even anxious right now, and I still use it. It's just a comfort thing for me. It's a safety blanket situation. So, if you struggle with anxiety, for any reason, sometimes heat can be a good self-soother, whether it be a heating pad, hot tea, which is also what I drink all the time, hot shower, being in the sun, anything. So some people that doesn't work, but some people it does, and I'm one of those people. So that's a little nugget, I guess. But
It's a
the
big
heating
nugget.
pad, huh?
That's a big nugget because I'm like, oh, I'm intrigued.
Yeah, it's when you like, of course, are discovering what your self-soothing techniques are, because some people it's like deep breathing, and that's helpful too. But in combination with other things like the heating pad, for me, that works wonders. So um immediately when I put it on, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm safe. Like it's like a rooting thing, a grounding thing.
Yeah.
Um and live life community. Because there's a lot of it's not just it is the community. It's definitely the community, but there's the book club and all the books we read. They've helped me I guess process a lot of things spiritually and healing wise. Um People within the community, and even Donna in the Wednesday calls, and just being open, honest, and vulnerable. There's the Thursday um accountability, and that was huge because like you really take your power back when you hold yourself accountable. So um and then for podcasts, for me, there's self-love over codependency podcast. There's self-care and chill with Maui if you want someone who's really real. And who else? Well, those are the two I started with, and there's so many more. But also, just Harry Potter. Whatever you love, like whatever you are really in love with, like I love the series Harry Potter, and I would spend a lot of times like talking to the community and like being in that world and watching the movies, reading the books, um, enjoying other people like in their cosplay, like joy, anything that brings you joy, really. Um, but yeah, those I would say those are some pretty bigger ones that help me make it through, really. And of course, more recently, God, Source, Universe. I feel like having that rooted relationship that I do now has really taken me, has accelerated, I would say,
Yeah.
accelerated me in this journey in ways that I don't know how to explain. So
May I try?
yes.
I'm gonna say I'm proud of you for throwing that last one in there because I was one of those people who we couldn't have a conversation about God, universe, source back in the day. So for you to say that and do that, it's not able to fathom that you're now saying this when several years ago you're like, no. So it's just something you can't fathom. I'm proud of you for doing that because it's huge. Where I know that going to a church and sending me a picture one time was like a big deal. So
Yes,
I'm just
absolutely.
proud of you. So thank you for that. Yeah.
Thanks. Oh, also, um, mental health walks. That's something that's more recently that I've been doing like this past year. Like I said, no phone, no earbuds. I do like hikes because this is like a hilly terrain, and I walk like a mile, 2 miles sometimes a day. So, and that's for mental health, my own mental health. So, exercise basically. But I would say like walking is such a it's more of a how do you say that, like a chill exercise,
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
refreshing
Yeah.
exercise,
It's
not
more
not too much pressure exercise.
it's more for the mental than the physical itself, right?
Yes,
It just
the
so
physical
happened
the
the physical
bonus.
receives. Yeah, it's a bonus, a little cherry on top, but more for the mental itself.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, Mariah, do you have any questions or comments for us that you would like to share before we wrap up this call?
Um, not that I can think of at this time.
Okay, no worries. And where can everyone find you at? Where's the best place to get in connection with you?
Probably Instagram. It's Morakki, Moerakki.
Okay.
That is my Harry Potter account, so you'll see me Hufflepuff my way through life. And then TikTok as well, and I think my name's the same on there too. And that's just more, I guess, motivational. Whatever comes up, that's what I'm sharing. That's basically what TikTok is for me. It's not Harry Potter related at all. So those are my handles, if you will.
Okay. And then what we'll do is we'll also add your link for everyone to get the meditation journal. I know when I first started meditation, I had no idea what I was doing. So for someone to make a framework that makes it easier for you to meditate, I'd probably purchase that journal. That's putting it out there.
And it'll be a good gift for people who want to start.
Yes. Yes. And Donna, you have any questions or comments for Mariah?
I don't have questions. I do have a comment, and Moriah, you proved it, is that you are never alone. Whether you think you are or you aren't, you are never alone. There's always someone there that is willing to reach a hand out and help.
Yes, absolutely. And I also want to add to that is that asking for help is courageous. It's not weak. It's an act of self-love.
Yes.
So ask for help if you need help.
Yes. It took a while for me to catch that one. As you
It
would
can be
say,
a challenge, but
it can be, like I said, as you said, in on the circle, as you would say. I got that from you. But Mariah, thank you so much for being here with us, and we hope that your story helps other people in their journey, because it is good to hear what happens in vulnerability. Because a lot of people, what you shared with us at the beginning to now, they will hide it and they will carry it to their graves, and no one will ever know. And when you ask them if they're okay, yeah, I'm okay. It's like, well, you know, well, so I appreciate you having the courage to share your vulnerability and being here with us. So thank you so much, and we'll chat soon.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
All right.